is a recording of the Executive Board meeting May 7th, held at St. Joseph's Infirmary Auditorium.
Jenny Copeland. Here. Mary Hicks. Here. Catherine Pope. Here. Glendora Robinson. Martha Davis. Here. Minnie Clark. Maxine Hensley. Here. Margaret Armstrong. Estelle Hilton. Here. Charity Wells. Here. Mrs. Fowler. Francis Fowler for Georgia Baptist. Mrs. Bernice Dixon. Mrs. Inez Stanley. Mrs. Mamie Bond. And Miss Dorothy Nix. I don't think she's ever visited, has she? I don't think so.
The minutes of our last meeting has been circulated to you, I believe, but I don't know that you've had time to read them. We'll have them read at this time.
The meeting of the Executive Board of this District Chair Snell was held Tuesday, March the 12th, 1963 at 7:30 p.m. at St. Joseph's Infirmary. The Lord's Prayer was said in unison. Present were Mrs. Garland, Miss Ellen Jones, Elizabeth Dixon, Patsy Atwater, Margaret Citrobon, Sister Incarnata, Edith Honeycutt, Virginia Copeland, Mary Hicks, Martha Davis, Maxine Hensley, Charity Wells. A quorum was declared by the Secretary. The meeting was called to order by the Chairman, Mrs. Garland. Letter dated February 16, 1963, from Miss Margaret P. Bodeker, Director of Nursing, Eggleston Hospital, was read, in which she states in detail the problems that two nurses employed at Eggleston Hospital experienced in trying to secure registration in Georgia. Both nurses have their B.S. degree, one from the University of Virginia, the other from the University of Tennessee. Report of the Treasurer, 5th District Monthly Report for January and February, read by the Treasurer, Ms. Atwater. Motion made to place the Treasurer's Report for the District on file. Dixon, Citrobon, carried. The February Treasurer's Report for the Nurses Professional Register was read by the Treasurer, Ms. Atwater. Motion made to place the Register Report on file. Dixon and Hensley, carried. Executive Secretary's Report. Ms. Atkins reported total membership to date as 776. Motion made to publish the 1962 audit report in the district meter. Ms. Hicks and Ms. Hensley, carried. Report of standing committees. Program. Ms. Atkins gave an outline of the program plan for Tuesday, March 15th. At the regular meeting. That should be February. No, that was March. That's right. Printing. Ms. Atkins reported that 1,500 district meters were mailed, and also 1,000 rules and regulations for the Nurses Professional Registry. Membership. Ms. Davis, Chairman, written report. Registry report. Ms. Hicks, Chairman, reported and brought 5 recommendations. 1, that a light system be installed in the second telephone to replace the ring of the second phone at the registry. Motion approved. To approve this recommendation. Dixon and Atwater. Motion carried. Second, that Mrs. Virginia Mackey represent only individual members of the Registry Committee to replace Mrs. Hazel Wickham, who has resigned. Motion to accept this recommendation. Ms. Atwater, Ms. Hensley. Motion carried. Third, that Mrs. Maxine Hensley and Ms. Emily Zertz be sent to the Southeastern Surgical Congress in Miami on March the 18th. Motion to approve this recommendation. Davis and Jones, and motion carried. Fourth, From the Executive Committee of the Private Duty Section, the Registry Committee asks all LPNs working on the Nurses Professional Registry to abide by the rules of the registry, which reads that practical nurses on registry not be allowed to wear caps and white hose on duty in homes and hospitals, that any infringement of the above rule by the practical nurse is cause for immediate dismissal, and that the chief registrar be asked to enforce this rule. Motion to approve this recommendation was made by Mrs. Hicks and Davis, and the motion carried. Fifth, that the registry not accept an LPN applicant that has been licensed by waiver. Motion to approve this recommendation was Honeycutt and Ms. Hicks, and the motion carried. Motion made that a letter be sent to the Practical Nurses Association setting forth the action taken by this board and stating the problems the doctors and the families are having in identifying the practical nurses and the registered nurses, and ask that they give consideration in adopting a colored uniform for the members of their association. Motion that the 5th District Executive Board hold up the ballot on the Nurse of the Year Award and keep nominations open until May the 1st. Ms. Hensley and Ms. Hicks, motion carried. Move that a definite criteria method of selection be set up for choosing the Nurse of the Year. This criteria should be approved by the Board of the 5th District GSNA and not be subject to change by the committee when these changes are first approved by the board. Sister Incanada and Ms. Citron, motion carried. Move that the President appoint a committee to work out a manual for the 5th District outlining the duties and responsibilities of each committee. That the board approve the manual and that a copy of the responsibilities be sent to the committee chairman and members of the committee each year. Ms. Wells and Ms. Atwater, motion carried. Report of the Committee on Professional Nursing Practice was read by the Secretary. New business. Move that Ms. Atkins represent the 5th District at the Allied Medical Careers Club's convention to be held at Elford Battle Sea on March 22nd through 24th, 1963. Dixon and Davis, motion carried. Move that the Committee on Professional Nursing Practice of the 5th District meet with Mr. Clifton and the Board of Examiners to discuss the problem explained in the letter by Ms. Buttercup, and Sister Incarnate, and motion carried. Committee appointed to set up manual, past presidents, and Ms. Dixon. Meeting adjourned at 9:30 p.m. Submitted by the Dixon Secretary.
Like we did a lot of business done.
I move the minutes be approved.
I'm seconding that right
Is
Well,
that,
yeah, that has been left out, but I know that this motion was made and it was seconded and it carried that the letter be written to the Practical Nurses Association about the problem of identification, and I made the motion, but I accidentally left it off this time.
The question I'd like to ask Madam President, in the second recommendation under register, why is the word only there? I'm sorry, it's not present this meeting.
It wasn't supposed to be only in there, I'm sure, because every nurse on the registry committee, even though she represents a certain group, she's supposed to be open-minded
She
and consider all.
Individual members, doesn't she?
She represents an individual group.
See, it's 2 individual members on her.
I think that word was other.
Resigned, and, Ms. Markey was, to take her place, and that shouldn't be
That
only.
doesn't belong
Just
there.
represent the individual.
Oh, the other, I think that word was for
Recommendation
other.
had only,
They
yeah.
had 2, and I believe that was the way it was worded on that, don't you? And
Seeing those.
other. represent other individual members. You have one, I think that was to make up your second one.
Well, you have to have a word
Recommendation
in that
statement
also.
says that, because, I copied it and wondered myself why it was that way.
Well, Mayor, our law changed last September, allowing two from the individual group. That's how that came about.
Read the,
Well, I'm not, I've had this minutes.
So, on the communication,
I
I
have
think we
seen
can
it
read.
on the law, so I have it on the record, which is wrong.
You can find it since you wrote these up, Ms. Dixon, maybe a little bit sooner. That's Ms. Hensley, let's see.
See if we can tell by the numbers on it. That's the first one. No. That's the second one.
I'm sure it's not terribly important, I was asking for my own
I think it's other.
information, it seems to.
mine's on that long piece of paper.
Uh-huh.
Especially from the private duty section, I mean, the
Like they're right.
register committee.
Represent only individual members. That's what's on there.
That's what it looks like. Or one individual,
One.
or one, I
Oh.
don't know whether it's one or, I interpreted it as one, as only.
One of individual members of registered committee. One of.
One
One of,
of the individual members of registered committee.
oh,
Ms. Bond said she was present last time.
Duval,
I don't know, it seems to me like this recommendation here about the definite criteria of selection be set up for choosing the nurse of the year, that last down there, it seems to me like that was not to be subject to change by the committee without changes are first approved by the board, instead of when these changes are first approved by the board.
Represent
I think
system
that's just a
canadas.
wording there.
You mean, in selecting the nurse of the year in fifth district,
Yes.
why did the question come up?
You want to hear that?
No, but I was on the committee one time and selected, and we had something to go about.
Well, nothing had ever been adopted by the board. It'd been,
Oh,
the
was
first
that-
year, the careers committee outlined it, the second year, the careers and the program committee did it, and the third year, we ran into confusion. They wanted the board to make the selection, and all they wanted was your opinion. It later developed, and they made the selection and want you just to approve it tonight. But the motion was then that a definite criteria be set up and be used yearly. I think was the way it was
I
worded.
know, I was on a committee once that we were selected, but we had something to go by,
That's
but I
right.
didn't know it hadn't been adopted.
It had not been adopted. It was recommended and to get suggestions from other sections, but it was never brought forward as a recommendation. It was at Piedmont last year.
the way we have it, sister, is moved that a definite criteria method of selection be set up for choosing the nurse of the year. This criteria should be approved by the board of the 5th District GSNA and not be subject to change by the committee when these changes are first approved by the board. What?
Unless these changes are first approved by the board.
Unless.
Unless these changes.
Chairman, reflection on my writing. This has got to do with unless.
Are there any other corrections, comments, questions? Would you like to approve the minutes as corrected?
I move the minutes be approved as correct.
Kelly. Ms. Copeland seconds the motion that the minutes be approved as corrected. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Motion is carried.
Madam Chairman, now that you've closed the business, is there anything in here that says the minutes of the previous meeting were approved? I see no reference to it. I guess we call it into business, and I would like to move that the action reference to the meeting in February, I got a minute for February meeting be added to the. Doesn't matter, except that.
Yes. Thank you. These were approved.
Yes, they were.
They were approved.
And it was
They
on
was
my
left
copy,
out.
but I don't know how it was, left out.
Mhm.
That's where that tape comes in so wonderfully. I think if many of you could hear them, it'll give you a different insight of the meetings too.
We have a note from the family of Dr. Luther H. Kelly acknowledging with grateful appreciation the kind expression of sympathy from the 5th District Judge State Nurses Association. I believe these other communications can wait with our new business. Do you have a report, Secretary? And we have a report of the treasurer.
It's right here. Hold on.
Fifth District Report, April 1963, brought forward from March, $3,014.52. Receipts total $4,128, making $7,142.52 on deposit. Total disbursements $2,064.85, making a total of $5,077.67. Bank charges for collection money order $1.50. Clearing the bank $5,076.17. Checks out $1,020.38. Agrees with the bank statement $6,096.55. Obligations to the government, withholding tax $57.40. Social Security $29. Total of $86.40. State of Georgia withholding $1.92. I move that this report be placed on file.
Yes, second. Any discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
We don't have one for the registry.
Have one for the month before that. Here it is.
March.
Good.
No, it's right there, right on front.
Oh,
Isn't that March right there?
yeah. I didn't see this, I thought it was the same. March 1963 financial report for the registry. Income is $5,856. Disbursements a total of $2,705.65. Bank balance March the 31st was $9,766.32. Savings account is none. March the 31st, total RNs paid end of March 31st was 124. Total RNs part-time paid 6. Total PNs paid at the end of March 31st, 38. And total PNs part-time paid 2. Martha Carlton, bookkeeper. And the April report. Total incomes $5,356.85. Disbursement $2,532.58. Bank balance $13,591.27. Savings account none. Total RNs paid end of April 119. Total RNs part-time 12. Total PNs paid 36. Total PNs part-time 2. Martha Carlton, bookkeeper. I move these reports be placed on file.
The second. Any discussion, questions? All in favor, please say aye. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. Now we hear a report of the standing committees. Program, Ms. Bryce. I think Ms. Bryce has an interesting program to tell us about at this time.
Well, I don't think that I can take much credit for anything that if it's interesting, it's because it's going to be that way. We are going to, however, have the annual Nurse of the Year Award program at the Academy of Medicine next Thursday, 4:30. Not today, tomorrow. And Dr. William Jones from Emory is going to do his stimulating and wonderfully entertaining talk on change that's going on. We take a trip around the world with him. It's starting, it's fascinating. Any of you who've heard him will want to hear him again, and those who haven't will not want to miss it. Several people agree with him. There's going to be a fair amount of musical rendition of the various groups. We will have a tea downstairs following the program. I'm just giving the highlights every more than music, refreshments, and I hope some good times for all of us. This is an easy thing to let go by. I will consider it personally a favor to bring at least one other person with you. If you can bring more, it's fine. The various schools will have a representative, and most of them I'm going to say capacity. My personal wish is for students to be there in great numbers. For the July meeting, we have a program planned for this too. I'd just like to mention that. I think that would be interesting. Anything else?
Yes, I want to ask you a question. You mean is this Thursday week? Gosh, I was just worried to death think it was this
Very
Thursday.
relaxed. You got another 10 days.
Yes, but I got to cancel something.
Thank you, Ms. Bryce. I do hope that there will be a good crowd to hear Dr. Jones. It's really embarrassing to get these very busy people out for our meetings, and then not very many people come out to hear them. It's discouraging to the program committee, to say the least, as well as it will be certainly hard to get people to come back again. Ms. Atkins, you have a report of the executive secretary and printer.
I thought maybe you were going to leave me out because I was running late, but I do want to tell you one thing. I won't give you a written report. If you have not received the bulletins that we sent out last night to the other members, please let me know, because it gives you our total membership. Note that 457 private duty nurses on there. We have 11 more that came in today that will be reported, and the 5 that Ms. Davis will tell you about approved, so with the 1,022. I'll tell you one thing, the tabulated cards did fine. We made up the directive within 2 hours. And Ms. Monaco made me a copy of that. I had it on May the 1st, Wednesday. I picked it up at 10:30 Friday morning. And one of the announcements I wanted to tell you about is the fact that AJN, beginning in May, will let you renew your subscription directly to them for $3, which means that they would have to verify with us your membership. So I took the copy, the entire membership, and sent it with my order at AJN Friday. They called me Monday from New York, thinking I had made a mistake, that was my original copy for the directory, which went in. And by having the 2 copies in, all of the sections did have the other, and we had it done in a matter of just a few hours. And we feel that that's a great saving there. We have been working on publicity, and if any of you would like any more proclamations, last night I sent out 300 notices for the bulletin boards and the little cards, 200 of those, and to send out to your friends to invite them. And spent today down to Journal and the Constitution trying to finish up our program. Our feature out at the Journal went into St. Joseph as a patient today, so we hope y'all take very good care of her, Miss Diane Nicholson. Let her know I've been trying to get her all last week. They told me she'd be back Monday, and we had planned very definitely for her to run some features on our nurse of 1963. So when I went down there today, they told me she came in St. Joseph's this morning, and just all the rest of them. But you will be hearing, going back to the subject of the AJNs, for the new procedure beginning in May will be that the members will go ahead and renew directly. We have been very busy in the office, but we are up to date on everything else.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Ms. Langford's not here for a report issue on bylaws, nor Ms. Mays, Finance, Legislation, Ms. Hudson, Membership and Credentials, Ms. Davis.
We had a referendum vote. We had only 5 applicants, and they have been cleared for members, and that brings the total up to 1,022.
1,022.
They're all cleared now.
Those have all been reported. Now I have 11 that came in today that will be reported, which will give you 5 new ones and 11 renewals. Add that many, 16 on what you have. That clears the file.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Davis. Ms. Clark is not here but we do have some suggestions of nominees from sections and alumni. Would you like to read these, Madam Secretary?
The 5th district will go directly to her. Those for the state will be in a separate category, will go directly to the Georgia State Nurses Headquarters.
This is March the 28th, 1963. Miss Carolyn Atkins, Georgia State Nurses Association. Dear Miss Atkins, Georgia Baptist alumni would like to submit the following names from the 5th district to the state nominating committee. Miss Olive Bob in Augusta for state president, Miss Dana Hudson, Atlanta State Board of Examiners, Ann Holly, Atlanta Director, Alice Budd, Atlanta Director, Martha Davis, Atlanta Secretary, Second Vice President. Respectfully submitted, Ms. Frances Hale, President, Georgia Baptist Alumni.
That was before the election. Ms. Fowler's now the new president.
There are more nominees there in that over the paper. I don't know whether those should be added to that list or not. I think some have already been announced.
Are those the state office?
State nominations. Treasurer Nancy Sale, President Olive Bobbin, Second Vice President Martha Davis, and Board of Examiners Dana Hudson. And 5th District President Elizabeth Malone, and A&A President Genevieve Jones, and Director Undine Sams. Undine Sams is from Florida. And I'm sure that everyone has had this copy of this letter from the chairman on nominations from the Georgia State Nurses Association that was sent out in January, stating the offices to be filled in Georgia State Nurses Association. And the offices are the president and the second vice president and the treasurer. The two directors. Now this doesn't have but one director here, but we have Miss Nancy Sale and Miss Ollie Bobbin, whose time will expire in '63. Then the ones who are now serving on the nominating committee, which will be a new committee this fall, is Evelyn Smith as chairman, and George McDaniel, Miss Pauline English, and Elizabeth and Evelyn Hartless, and Edith Poole. And the State Board of Examiners, the Miss Hudson's term will expire in September, and Miss Nancy Sale will expire in September. And for the Advisory Committee of the Board of Examiners for Practical Nurses, the names of appointees now serving are Miss Dana Hudson, Miss Lucille Murphy, Miss Sarah Luke Stevens.
Did you say Lucy or Murphy?
Is on the advisory.
Is that the person who was chairman of private newspaper?
That's right.
She's one of the board of examiners.
She's on the advisory. She's on the advisory committee for the practical nurses. That's different from the Board of Examiners.
I just didn't understand.
Miss Sally Clark, this was sent by Ms. Margaret Armstrong from Public Health Section to Ms. Sally Clark, the nominating committee chairman. The president, Ms. Garland, this is for the Georgia State Nurses Association. The Public Health Section, 5th District, Georgia State Nurses Association would like to suggest the following names for your consideration for the ballot of 5th District GS&A. President, Ms. Gladys Garland. Second Vice President, Ms. Evelyn Murphy and Ms. Frances Hammett. Treasurer, Ms. Lillian Austin. Directors, Doris Hanson, Eula Benning, Margaret Jones, Virginia Moore, Alice Freeman, Pauline English, Isabel Scruggs, and Adele Paxton. Members of the nominating committee, Bessie Swan, Ann Stevens, Doris Taylor, Juliet Adams, Carrie Lou McCarter, Margaret Armstrong, and Helen Ronan. Board of Examiners is Maddie Lou Wade, Merle Lott, Nancy Wooten, Dorothy Knott. The above names have been contacted and have agreed to serve if elected.
She called and said that was indicated for the 5th district as well as the state, but they meant for those nominees to be
Same ones
both.
to be submitted for both.
Well, I believe that it's like there's something here for the nominating committee to work on. I guess these will be forwarded on to the
Yes,
state.
and there may be some other additions from the other groups, Ms. Garland. Why don't we leave that to your business when you get down there, because the other sections, I understand, have
Don't
some they
think
have
we're
not
handling this
submitted.
quite in the right way. These should be in the hand of your nominating committee.
You
And
mean for
all-
the state?
No, for your district.
Well, I told you that
And,
the ones for, I just mentioned.
Then all of these that are sent in from the, for your state nominating committee chairman should be held in the 5th district. And those names put on a form that is signed by the president and the secretary of the district and submitted only to the nominating committee chairman. And this board should not have this information.
The board should not have the information on who's to be
They
from
put-
the state, on the state?
They submit them into the committee.
My-
And then the committee, gives a report to the board.
My information
But,
has been that those submitted for the district would go directly to the nominating chairman of the district. We're not concerned with that only as information. But tonight, that the board will make the selection to be sent on your form to you. Is
Don't
that
need
right?
that until July the 1st.
Well, I'm gonna be gone in June. We won't have a chance in July the 1st will be our next meeting.
Well, won't you have other nominations to hear from other people?
We have no-
submitting names
we let
between now
them
and
know
July the 1st?
in January to let us know that it would come up at the May meeting, because that's our only opportunity of notifying them. I leave on vacation on the 30th, and will not be back until June, so this will have to be taken care of in the May meeting. For the simple reason, we won't get our replies back in time for July the 1st. I'll come back the middle of June, and you only have 2 weeks then, you still wouldn't have time to get them. So we told our members to come prepared to name we told them in January, and again in March, from all the sections, to come prepared to the May meeting, which has been on the calendar there for us to do, and which
Well, I
was
believe
done
that the
last
district
year.
is being penalized, though, because there might be other nominations coming up, because that's 2 months
For
from
the
now to June, July the 1st to submit names.
You don't have another board meeting
And they,
until July, the middle of second.
I know, but Carolyn, it doesn't necessarily have to come to this board for approval to go to the state.
Do we have a final?
Yes.
Well, I'd like to say, try to use the district nominations direct to the chairman of the nominating committee.
That's the way it should be.
Well, we told them that, but how about the ones to the state? They go through the 5th District office, not through the chairman of the nominating committee.
The committee
She has
of the-
merely the 5th District organization ballot to be concerned with. The others officially should be named and given to us to go on that one form, because we do not have another board meeting until the second Tuesday in July, which is past the time they would have to have those biographical sketches in. and that
Of course, we've
consent
always had to go
serve.
around and beg people to get on there. We never have had people really anxious to go. The Committee on Nominations shall prepare a list of 2 names or more candidates for each office to be filled. Now, that does not state what this is on the district level.
Well, the
Not on
board's
the
not
state.
concerned with that tonight, except the fact that they were told that they would go if they were addressed to the office to her, or if they went directly from the sections there.
Well, we can accept this as information and forward it to the state, can't we, the nominating committee?
Whatever you want. Do what you tell me.
It seems to me that if we have something that's this muddy in our minds, procedure-wise, that this is a matter that should be referred also to the committee of ballot for
You won't find it in
clarification.
that book is 10 years old. Let me give you a
Yeah,
new
that's-
one. The new one is,
I don't find it.
well, it doesn't say it in there anyhow.
It doesn't.
You won't find it in there at any rate, but
Will you find it
we
here?
did it last year in May. That's one.
It
that
should
we,
be in.
revised.
We should refer it to the ballot.
There's nothing that tells you in there
Well,
that
you
is,
should, that's it.
you won't find it clarified in that.
I move this, is there a motion on the floor?
No.
No,
The report has to be in July 1st. If you can tell me how you can get a report from the board before that time, unless you do it in May, I'd like to know it, unless you have to call a meeting. The board makes suggestions, the sections. If it's consent of the board not to make any more suggestions, that's just fine. We'll take the list that we have submitted to us.
Well, I just want to be clear, I don't quite understand. Is it that if we wait 2 more months, that some other suggestions might come in that should be added to this list that you can file in the office?
If you make it 2 more months, it will be past the date it's due,
No.
July 1st.
What I'm asking, all right,
Uh-huh.
if we make it a month and a half, and it's the thing that we're saying, that some more names may be sent in, and could be added to that list that you will prepare and I can send on. Is that what will be done with names? Is that what we're trying to do?
We designated last year as being May, at the time at which the members were selected by the board, and the suggestions submitted to the board. From the board, members gave suggestions for their,
If there were any other suggestions, why couldn't our secretary, association in your absence send on names? That's the thing.
you
I
have one
would do.
official form, if you're going to accept, that's what happened before. Somebody had me hold up the nursing service administrators group for their meeting. I ran all special notices for them, and we never did get it. And then later on, they brought it up to the board at the Georgia State Nurses, and that person was elected an officer because her opposing candidate withdrew. But it never did go through the official channels. We have one report if we have written reports to submit, I'd like to see that it's in writing. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm happy to do. But I want a definite method, and I was told that we would have it in May, and the report is due the 1st of July. I'll be back on the 16th of June to fix the report if you get them to me.
Well, and my plea is here, in case you misunderstood, that we get this data through the bylaw committee for future, not for the football times. I think it's a matter.
That could come up under your manuals on there, on your procedure on there, which we're going to work on and have ready. Because it's administrative more than anything else, since we don't have a
This
director.
nominating committee, this ticket has to come before the board to be approved, that they're eligible for the name to be. And then, at the last minute, if somebody wants to nominate from the floor, they can, if they have the consent. But doesn't the board have to approve the ticket?
That, the 5th district will come up later.
But this is the meeting where you make your nominations, isn't it?
For the state.
Anybody could be nominated.
That can be
nominated.
Had to be seconded.
No, nobody has any, the nominating committee is the only person who can prepare a nominating ticket.
Well, that's what I thought.
And-
Well, how about that
Right,
report that I'm to send in? Who's gonna prepare that? Y'all want me to just go ahead and take all that come in to me and send it in on that report to you? The 2 typewritten pages?
For the state,
Yes,
of course, that information is brought to the board.
that's what I'm
And
talking
then
about. That's what we're
that
working
is given
on.
to you've asked the districts to bring those in. The states, the alumnus sections to bring it in. Then that is submitted by the district, and those names are sent into the nominating committee of the state, listed on the form. But as far as the board, of course, we never have had anybody really interested in going into these things. This is something new, that if we've had to go out in the highways and the byways to get these offices, people submitted. But it's all brought only as information to the board, and not as an approval, because any member's names can be submitted to the state nominating committee by anybody, any member, anybody. You don't have to go through a district to submit to the state nominating committee. So this board really doesn't have, it's just purely as information.
When does the state board meet in the summer?
August.
August.
And this is in by July the 1st. But these lists are just merely to get the names together and send them in an orderly way to the state nominating committee. But there isn't anybody but the state nominating committee or the nominating committee of your district who can have anything to do with the ballot. You can't approve or disapprove.
We don't make up a ballot, but where names are submitted.
They are
for
submitted at
approval
any
in-
time.
But on the board at the
That's
state.
right. That's right. Anybody can
It
submit
does
a name.
take time for it to go through the proper procedure for it to be ready for the state board.
Well, suppose we leave it this way, then all of you that have any that you'd like me to submit on the July 1st report, have it in at least in time for me to send out for the biographical sketches. That's all I can ask, if you don't care to make any other suggestions. We were just told to go ahead and tell the sections and the alumni to bring it up to their meeting, and we announced it in January. We just want to be sure that everybody has an opportunity of being represented, and it's done in an orderly manner. So you just send it in to me, and I will forward it on. And next year we'll have a manual. We'll have it in writing.
This will do it. Is this clear? Is this your desire? Okay. Now we hear from the Registry Committee, Ms. Hicks.
We have had, two registry committee meetings, and I have quite a few recommendations to bring to you tonight. The first one is that we have had some, applications from, some of the colored nurses, and this was brought up before the registry committee, and the recommendation to the board is that we hold the applications and letters of the colored nurses requesting membership at registry for information, and ask the 5th District President, Ms. Garland, to consult the legal counsel for answer as to our correct position, and refer this request to the Atlanta Hospital Council Association for study and recommendation before final action by the registry committee. Do you all want to take these separate recommendations, or do you want me to read them all and then go back? Because everyone's different, you know.
Suppose you read the first one there again, Ms.
All right. That we hold applications and letters of the colored nurses requesting membership at the registry for information, and ask the 5th District President, Ms. Garland, to consult the legal counsel for answer as to our correct position, and refer this request to the Atlanta Hospital Council Association for study and recommendations before any final action is taken by the registry committee.
If you're going to act on this recommendation, I might bring you up to date on what I did about this. First, I'll read you the letter from the Special Registry Committee of the Negro Registry. Dear Ms. Garland, please send us information as to the procedure for 5th District members in securing applications and membership to the 5th District Professional Nurses Registry. Negro nurses are beginning their second year as members of the 5th District. The Atlanta Graduate Nurses Association was dissolved immediately after Negroes were accepted into membership of the 5th District. When we made inquiries about registry membership last year, it was suggested that we maintain a Negro registry. This was, of course, impractical, and we felt quite unfair to us members of the American Nurses Association and the district after the dissolution of the all-Negro organization. However, because we consider our profession one of high calling, a sacred mercy mission for the health care of human lives, we therefore did not press the point, since we all were in a transition period. We had hoped and felt that 5th District officials would act in good faith and extend the privilege of registry membership to all members. Our hopes, patience, and feelings have been somewhat shattered. For your information, Negro nurses for many years have been serving in metropolitan Atlanta as private duty nurses for white patients at all economic and social levels. Please send us this information immediately. Now, following through on the suggestion of the district, of the registry committee, that we talked with Mr. McClellan about this. Ms. Atkins arranged for a meeting with Mr. McClellan, in which Mr. McClellan suggested that letters be written to each hospital. And I believe you people in administration have gotten these letters. These are suggested drafts for your consideration. As one of the this is the proposed letter to the hospital. As one of the metropolitan area hospitals now utilizing our nurses professional registry, we wish you to be advised of a matter which we feel will be of interest to you and of considerable importance in the future handling of this service. It now appears that at an early date we will start the practice for the first time of including on the registry the names of Negro nurses. Those to be included, however, will have qualified and been screened in the same manner and according to the same standards as those applicable to all other members of our association. The effective date of this change will be announced later. At this time, though, it is necessary that we ascertain what, if any, policy has been established by your hospital with respect to the utilization of Negro nurses. It is requested that a written statement of any such policy now in effect be forwarded to us for our files, and further that prompt notice be given us of any changes in this policy which may occur in the future. In the event your present policy prohibits the use of nurses of the Negro race, that fact will be noted and strictly adhered to by the registry. If your policy is otherwise, however, it would seem advisable for members of our respective staffs to have a personal conference for the purpose of working out procedural details designed to comply with the rules of the hospital, as well as the wishes of individual doctors and patients. Please let us hear from you at your earliest convenience. And a draft of a letter suggested to be written to the Hospital Association. Enclosed herewith is a copy of a self-explanatory letter which has been sent to each hospital in the 5th District area, being served by our Nurses Professional Registry. At the outset, we want the Georgia Hospital Association to be fully apprised of the entire matter. Also, we earnestly solicit the association's advice and assistance in deciding upon and implementing workable procedures in connection therewith. Pending receipt of replies to our inquiries from the hospitals involved, we would welcome any thoughts or suggestions you may have as to the subject matter under consideration. Thereafter, we would be happy to have representatives of your group confer with us and the hospitals concerned when the details of handling are discussed. And this is the suggestion that Mr. McClellan made at our conference.
So you have mailed this to the hospital?
No, this is for the board's approval.
Could I ask a question? Is this letter directed to the hospital, in lieu of the, contact that we had at Atlanta County Hospital? Is that what you said?
We want the both of them.
Well, what I'm asking is, it goes to the individuals and then to the council and hospitals as well as to the other groups mentioned here. This is not in conflict with the motion, that's not the.
No.
It goes along with it.
It goes along with. You see, the committee suggested that I see Mr. McClellan, and we did, and this is his suggestion.
Ms.
Dawn, I'd like to ask for information. Is that necessary if they are members of the district? Yes, and they're not entitled to the same privileges that the white nurses have. Are they not entitled to be on the registry?
Well, it was just,
I will grant you that there may be some hospitals in which they may not, allow them to come, but that will be the prerogative of the hospital.
Well, that's all they want in that, sister, was a statement from the hospital.
hospital.
And their exact position which would be honored.
But that still doesn't deprive them of the right to belong to the registry.
Oh, no.
They are entitled to all hospitals. Actually, if they remember the GSNA board by year, then it seems to be pretty slow in acting.
Well, this is the first request we've had from the registry in writing. We have, application from one nurse, but not from the registry.
I don't personally feel that it should have had to come from the registry. I think that if an individual applied and she's a member of GSNA, then she has the right, if she's qualified, she has the right to be on the registry just as any other nurse.
I don't believe anybody's questioning anybody's right. I think it's just procedure that we're trying to work out.
Seems to me that there's another thing to be considered here, and that is whether really it would be morally right to accept membership from any person. I know the registry is not guaranteeing employment, but at the same time, until you know that there is a chance that adequate placement may be made of these people who are on, it seems not quite fair to take their dues until this can be more or less ascertained.
He thought that was good in her application, that they'd have some criteria to go by, and that when she is accepted her registry fees, that certain hospitals have not worked that problem out. Same way with people who are in hospitals who do allow them. He thought there should be some procedure in that manner, that if you happen to be a white person, say for instance in St. Joseph, and a Negro nurse was sent, then there should be some way of clarifying that. The right to membership is unquestioned, as far as she has every privilege of any other member, all the American nurses. The only thing is that if you take her and then don't give her employment, you are depriving her of the privileges and are actually discriminating there, not through any fault of the registry.
Do we give her, know where she is going to be and be accepted is a position that she's on the registry?
Sister, did you have something?
But my point is this, though, that they have the added sense of another registry.
Yeah.
Even if there may be some white hospitals who may not call the Negro nurse, that of course will not be the case with us, they will get the call. But again, it might depend on the patient. But the fact remains that those calls could still be handled through one registry as they are handled in Savannah. Now that they have been on the Savannah registry and have been handled that way. And they would ask you when you call for nurses, does that patient object to a Negro nurse? But we never had any that did. They all took them and were glad to have them. But it did eliminate the cost of running two registries. They were all on the registry. That does not mean that they necessarily nursed at every hospital, because they did not.
Sister, they have only 5 graduate nurses on that registry that they have now, and they're planning to put that into an employment agency. So that question is out in regards to that. So far, they have only 5 members of American nurses. The rest of theirs are practical nurses. We went down to the registry last November on Webster Street because we wanted to know everything we could about it. In accepting them. Only 5 Negro nurses on, according to Ms. White, at that time there were only 5 Negro nurses, and we've only had one application which was just recent. It's been since Christmas that we've had the one applicant. And that they felt that in all fairness to her, the way should be cleared, and that's all they want to do is to have a policy there in which everybody's rights would be respected, and it wouldn't be any embarrassment for her on any circumstances.
Madam Chairman, if I might speak on behalf of this, I was a member of the committee, and if you recall, it was not a question as to the numbers. I think that I speak for the group in saying that we wish to give these people every consideration that we acceptably due. There are other members present at the meeting, I think they would confirm this, and have this established and really follow through on this. I don't think there's any question. We recognize, and I think at first it was accepted, and then we said, well, there would be others if employment was forthcoming. And would we be able, and is it fair without sort of doing a little bit of a pioneering here and give these people every consideration? I think that this recommendation came as a result of this type of thinking. And this is the issue as I see it, this is the cause or reason for the recommendation.
Do you want to read your motion?
All right. That we hold the applications and letters of the colored nurses requesting membership at the registry for information, and ask the 5th District President, Ms. Garland, to consult legal counsel for answer as to our correct position, and refer this request to the Atlanta Hospital Council Association for study and recommendations before final action by the registry committee.
I would like to say this. I know that in that meeting, the reason that motion was worded was we felt like that it was only fair to give the Atlanta hospitals the opportunity to make a statement that they would accept or they wouldn't accept. And then when the girls register, when we do accept them at the registry and take their money, we can tell them, well, this hospital will accept you for private duty, providing it's agreeable with the family and the doctor. And such hospital at the present time will not allow us to send you there, but we want to be fair in every way. I'll tell the board too, we also took in consideration that when we start taking the Negro professional nurses, we are also going to be expected to take the Negro practical nurses. We're afraid we would. We don't know what the position would be, but there's a lot of things to consider. If we did eventually do that, additional help, maybe more space, and we just want to know what the position is of the hospitals before we promise these girls anything. That was the reason for the motion, and I would like to second the motion.
This letter only asks for the members of the American Nurses Association. It doesn't say anything about practical nurses.
Well, I know, but we do operate the white practicals, and we have to be fair about this thing. If we take the white practicals, we're asked to take the Negro practicals, we're going to have to be fair about it, and we're going to have to, if they meet the same criteria as our white practical nurses, and we keep our white practical nurses, we are going to be asked to take their applications, and that's why I say we've discussed a lot of this that hasn't actually, we haven't gone into detail about, but that's why we feel like we should have a statement from the hospital as to what they will accept.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Ms. Hicks made the motion and Ms. Hensley seconded the motion. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. And the motion is carried.
Now, my second recommendation is that Ms. Bone, chief registrar has resigned as of June the 1st. And the recommendation is to accept Ms. Louise Bones' resignation as chief registrar with regret. And I would like, a letter written by the secretary, thanking her for her services. Please.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded that Ms. Vaughn's resignation be accepted with regrets and that a letter be written to her concerning this. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Motion is carried.
And my third recommendation is that Mrs. Hortense Glennie be appointed as the chief registrar to fill Ms. Bones' unexpired term. Ms. Glennie is a Georgia Baptist alumni, and she has done private duty for years, and at the present time she's employed in the Winship Clinic. She's charge nurse at the Winship Clinic in Inland, and she's a fine person, and I really think that it would be well if we could go.
It's been moved and seconded that Ms. Glennie be employed to fill the unexpired term. Is it a Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes,
Is there any discussion?
well, that will be until the annual meeting.
Annual meeting.
Until they're reappointed, it's just sort of, yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's the way it is.
Are you ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. And the motion is carried.
Now, I want to explain to y'all a little bit about our budget. Our budget for 1960. Members as of today at the registry. Now that's counting the practical, some of them undergraduates, some of them, of course, are other graduates. I don't have a breakdown on it right now. And $35 times 515 is $18,095. So you see, we're not going to have enough money to operate the registry on. We have in the bank right now $13,591.27, and we spend approximately anywhere from $2,200 to $2,500 a month. I mean, you can look back on the different financial statements that we have, and sometimes when we have extra taxes and the audits, but anyway, it runs along about that. But what I wanted to say right now was that the recommendation is that due to lack of funds, if the nurses' professional registry dues be raised to $50 a year beginning in 1964. Now, if we have the same number of nurses next year as we've had this year, well, it would be $25,850. That's 517 times 50. It'd be $25,850. Our budget's around $25,000. So you see that still wouldn't give us too much leeway on the thing. The reason our budget is larger is because we're paying the registrars a living salary up there now. And, of course, we have a rent and a telephone and the equipment and, we pay the taxes and everything's itemized out every month, but.
Excuse me, it'll be in there, meter, when you receive it tomorrow.
But the main thing is the salaries on the thing, which is, paying, say, 6 people, it takes quite a bit of, payroll to operate. So I would like to make that recommendation, please, Mayor.
May I ask one question, Ms. Hicks? Has that been brought before your private duty section?
No,
There's a motion on the minutes there that any future raises on that, I guess Ms. Dixon will remember more about that than I do in going over them, that they made a motion that any raises be brought before their section before it was ever done. I just wondered if they had any action at all about it.
No, this action was after the private duty meeting. This was at the last registry committee meeting, which was the day after the private duty meeting.
well,
We haven't had an opportunity to take it to the section. The section will certainly be informed, but I think what Ms. Hicks and the registry committee is trying to do is inform the board that if we continue to pay living wages at the registry and keep it open 24 hours a day, we are going to have to ask for an increase in dues. And we have been extremely fortunate in Atlanta that we haven't had to pay higher registry dues than we have. We've had very reasonable registry dues. If you compare the registry dues around the country, you'll find that we have been very, very fortunate. And we do not want to have to ask the board to cut back the salary.
May I ask a question? This number, 457, are RN,
457 are,
how many practices are?
well, it'd be from 570.
Yes, sir. The membership, here's the list right there.
Down to $30 and down along. We replaced everything in the furniture because I was on the committee to help select that child. We just about got it equipped. Why is it we've got to jump back up to $50?
Well, it was reduced to 30 to use up the surplus money. that
See, we had
had.
around
We had too much
$10,000
surplus money in the bank.
bank.
The government's not gonna allow that. You can't call that a non-appraised profit.
I know about that, but we're just about caught up in the replacement of all that furniture.
Well, we don't need anything right now. We know that, but we do have to pay salaries. All we
Yes, I
allowed for
realize that.
equipment in the budget, I believe, was $200 this year, if I remember right. That's all that was allowed in the budget this year for the registry equipment was $200. I believe I'm
Here's
correct
your
about
budget right
that.
there in the front.
But I know all of it's been really done over and they bought new furniture and new equipment, and it looks to me like we ought to be caught
Office
up
equipment,
enough.
$200, and, office supplies, $350. That was in the budget, and it was approved. We do have our registry equipped. We realize that. We're not asking for the raise just for equipment. We
But
just,
we've used up in that, and, all of our surplus, it seems to me like that wouldn't have to increase it to $50 just yet.
That's a real big jump,
I think so too. I'd rather operate right on the edge than have too much.
well, she figured out what it would be at the
Oh, well, I
same
guess-
membership at $50, what it would be if our budget is the same next year as we have for this year. And they probably can be some difference, we probably can cut down some on it. But that's not giving us any surplus to speak of.
517 paying members times $50
Oh,
is
this has to be
$25,850.
And our budget this year is 25,034.
goes to
pay anything
about this now.
No, they just won't do it next year.
But people in other places
The
pay
$13, $15,
$60,
$2, this is
$75,
what they're running
$100.
tomorrow.
Yes,
Well,
I
that
know,
was 6
maintenance
months.
has been $60 just
Yeah.
as far back as I remember
Yeah,
for 10
yeah,
years.
I was thinking
I
about
think
But
that.
they
The
only
rest
have
of the
100.
we
Mhm.
all have to just do the
But it
best
seems to
we
me
can
like
on
they could
this.
run until
So-
fall on that, and then they can raise dues on it. That's the reason why I take up this
From
time,
30.
because they're living.
Well, that's
Private
3
duty
days
nurse club
work a
do
year,
decide
isn't it?
that.
I don't even get
Well,
one.
all right, well, we'll just let that go now. This other one, I'm going to have to bring, tonight, something that's in strictest confidence in regards to Ms. Elsie Fitzgerald. She was employed at Piedmont, and when she left Piedmont, she started doing private duty. And we began to have complaints about her, and on February the 7th, Miss Graves requested that she not be sent to Emory. And Sister Incarnata on February the 5th. Now, on February the 11th, Miss Hopkins at the Cab General requested that she not be sent there anymore. Now, Miss Hopkins was called, and a letter was written to her on the 24th asking that she send a letter stating that Miss Fitzgerald not be sent to the Cab General. And so, as of today, we haven't received a letter from her on that. But Miss Fitzgerald appeared before the Registry Committee, and it was decided that I should call her doctor, which I did, and he called her in, and in the meantime, she said she needed to work, and so she went over to Georgia Baptist to do private duty. She was not working through our registry. We have a rule that if you're barred from 3 hospitals, that you can no longer do private duty from our registry. And I understand Ms. Bone called me and said that Ms. Howard said not to send her back over. I mean, that she wasn't coming back over there anymore, not that she couldn't send her back, but for her not to come back over there anymore. So then Ms. Fitzgerald requested to come before the Registry Committee again. And she did, and she looked a good bit better, but it was still decided that due to all of the complaints from all the hospitals, that we just couldn't take the responsibility, and especially since this had come up over at Georgia Baptist. When she was on this trial period, that we could not assume the responsibility of having her work through our registry. So when I called her and told her that, she was very indignant about it, and she just couldn't understand at all why she wasn't reinstated. As a matter of fact, she just kept insisting that it was the Registry Committee that was keeping her from working instead of her keeping herself from working. And we told her that we'd do anything we could to help her and all, and she said that she was going to consult a lawyer concerning this, and so that is why I thought that I should bring this before the board tonight.
What did the doctor have to say?
Well, he called her in for consultation and referred her to a neurologist, but I don't have any report from any doctor.
Well, she was in office. I've known Miss Fitzgerald for several years, and I was in a meeting over at League during the morning, and we had another meeting at noon over at GSNA, and I went into this meeting at GSNA and sat there 15 or 20 minutes, and I did not even recognize Miss Fitzgerald. I really,
recognize she's working at George Baptist right now, temporarily.
well, I think she's a sick person.
And, it is just temporary.
I don't know what's wrong with her, but I never would have known.
May I recent that information about the question?
She requested at our last, revenue committee meeting,
Don't you want to?
Because I was told,
I don't
I was told
I just
2
really
weeks
didn't
ago
know.
that she had accepted the job down in Americas at that, school of nursing down there. And that she was leaving Atlanta. Now, I don't know whether or not it was supposed to be from her that she had accepted the position. I'm just wondering if she will go through with this or whether or not she will go on down to Americas and take that job teaching.
Well, she kept insisting that the registry committee clear her name, and that she was not going to accept this position until her name was cleared, and since she, was planning on accepting this position, she did want us to give her permission to work from the registry. Well, we couldn't do that. We had no other statements from any of the hospitals saying that they would take her back, and we could not accept her, back for the registry, to be sent out from the registry, but she kept hammering that home.
Well, I would, this, of course, this is all in confidence, and I would like to say I myself talked to her, because when this came up in our hospital, I came back over to the hospital at night, because I don't take anybody's word for it. I saw it, I talked to her, I know. And I have that on the statement that I sent to the registry after I reported them. So it is not hearsay, and it is, I was not the only one. The acting supervisor called me over. The head nurse on the floor also had seen that. It had happened twice before, but they didn't call me when it happened, and I will not take anybody's word for when I'm going to sign one of those forms. I'm going to see it. And I actually saw it, but I would tell you that they had to point her out to me. Now, I know her very well, but her face was so bloated, and she looked so different, I did not recognize her.
Ms. Hudson said 2 weeks ago she's going to give her every opportunity to, give her an opportunity to see what she can do. At the present time, she's not a member of the district. We took them all off the 1st of April. And according to your registry rules and regulations there would be no reason to be concerned about suit in any way, because you state in there that any person put on a report there, I mean, it's clearly defined. Mr. McClellan, that was brought to his attention, that she had to comply with certain regulations of the registry, and if she had those complaints there, that we were justified, the rules were printed and being distributed and so forth.
You say you wouldn't recognize her, and I've been working with her for years, and I always admired her so much, and she's been wonderful to work with. Is she sick?
Yes.
She's definitely sick.
Well, then,
You
is this something-
wouldn't know Elsa Fitzgerald. She
Yes,
wouldn't walk in your right.
I don't know what I've done it done.
She looks better though
Well,
than
you
she
wouldn't-
did the
you
first,
wouldn't-
first
you haven't
day
seen
she
her within the
came to
past
that
few months, you
committee
wouldn't know.
meeting. That, the first time that she came, she was 30 minutes late, and she just, you just couldn't get through to her at all.
Talk all over herself.
Could I ask a question, point of information for this and subsequent cases? What is the alternative? What alternative does she have? She's been, refused, practice privileges in 3 institutions, and you say that the rules say that you cannot reinstate them. Well, under what conditions may they be reinstated?
She's got to be treated and devastated from the
And certified medically that
And working some under supervision.
she is, I just wonder, this is the point.
May I ask a
Like
question?
you need a doctor's report on it. Like you need a doctor's report.
Well, may I ask this question for information? rather just dump her out. Does she have any relatives or any family that
Oh,
would
she has a husband, Miss Mary.
Well, now, is it, well, but does she have anybody else
Yeah.
besides that? You know, sometimes your own kin folks is better than your married folks. Are there any of her relatives anywhere that you could talk to to let her know that we're not? I don't believe in taking nurses' business, finding shit and just dumping them without some feeling.
Well, you have to work through the doctor.
I think a report from the doctor ought to be had.
We can be kind to her, but she needs somebody to be kind to her, than not us. I feel like that she needs some of her family to know that we aren't condemning her. I just want to know, does she have any relatives, any mama, brothers, or sisters, or anything?
I don't know her family, I think she's from Ohio.
Nobody knows anything about that, but whatever effort was made to consult with her doctor, Ms. Hicks spent a lot of time
I
talking
don't
with
know
him.
that, but I think that,
You can only interfere so far though in people's lives.
When
Lou.
people have to admit they need some help.
well,
or you can give them
that may be
help.
true, but you can't just, dump them, and if she's not mentally able to understand that, it's fine that she has been, that she is not capable of being a nurse and coming in contact with patients like that. I think that, I can see where it would hurt us to notify some member of the family that she is sick, is not able to nurse, and,
Georgia Baptist is going to give her every opportunity. They're going to assist her.
well, I just want to know.
You can't,
You
I
do.
got one.
They'll help her, Ms. Monette, in every way possible.
I think Ms. Hicks wanted the backing of the board in what they're trying to do with these people, and I think it's fine that they'll bring us this information.
Well,
Certainly, give,
See this information.
yes.
I move that this be received as confidential information.
well, it kind of hurts me when a person's been so fine.
It's
Shall we
moved in
just leave this out of the
second.
minutes entirely? Don't you
Under
think?
no
Yeah.
condition should it
I think it
be
should be
air.
read.
Be
Read
read.
to the district.
I wouldn't have brought it before the board had it not been that, she was, talking about
Actions, please.
seeing a lawyer about it. And she was very strong
No
about
action.
that too, and we may have something later about it. Now, my last recommendation is that the chief registrar be asked to notify the chairman of the registry committee immediately when a nurse is barred from an institution. So many times, I say so many times now, Miss Fitzgerald had trouble over here and over at DeKalb, really before we knew anything about it, you know, and, I think when these people, start having, difficulty, it's not fair to just send them to another hospital and let them repeat the same thing there, and then send them to some other place and let them repeat the same thing there. I think that the hospitals, nursing services should be notified that this, nurse, is maybe, say, under probation or something, and, I think that she should, be asked to appear before the registry committee and maybe to work out some of her differences. And maybe she just wouldn't get in so far to where she couldn't be helped at all, you know, if we knew something about some of these people. And not just let them get barred from every place, you know, before we hear about it. And that has happened some before.
Wouldn't that come under administrative anyhow, that you have those reports?
Well, we don't get them till after they're barred from the third hospital, and we
You know,
want
I
them.
don't think that's fair. She was in this hospital with a very critically ill patient, and she was in no condition to be taking care of that patient. I actually sent her off because the patient was better on floor care than after that. She was really, I would say, a danger to that patient. And she had been barred from another hospital before that, and I don't think that outpatient should have been subjected to that
And you didn't know it, did you?
I did not
No,
know.
see, that's what I'm
That's
talking
what we
about.
I called Ms. Vaughn, and then she told me, oh, she has been barred from DeKalb.
I think it should
And I
be on
thought
the first.
at that time that kind of information should have been given out, and I know I wouldn't have let her go on with a sick patient like that. Because actually, that patient's life was in danger.
Well, that's the reason for the motion. We feel like that we should have it and have it approved by the board and go direct to the registry and every registrar read it. If they get something where a girl's not to be sent back, then the chairman of the registry committee will be notified. Then we can take it over from there. But we can't do anything till we're notified.
And a lot of times, really, you hear things from just around on the floor, as you know,
Well, I
before.
think I told you about that here at the meeting, after it happened.
Yes,
Yeah, but
yes.
unfortunately, it happened somewhere else before that occasion, and I think that not on patients' lives are at stake.
Mhm.
Well,
We have a motion, Ms. Hicks made the motion, and, Mrs. Honeycutt, you seconded this, didn't you? That the chief registrar be asked to notify the chairman of the registry committee immediately when a nurse is barred from an institution. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. This motion is carried.
May I ask Ms. Hicks something before she leaves the speaker? Going back to that $50, I don't mean to, fight about it, but could they pay it in two installments?
We're gonna have to try to do the nurse's stuff.
We'll work it out.
I don't think so.
Come back to the board
See
later.
what they can do after they act in the registry committee and the tribunal
Yeah.
section.
we
decide
had
that.
one time to get the board. One time.
Ms. Atkins, do you have anything further on public relations?
No, except that we are going to have one program today in Georgia on the 16th. Mildred Burns, who spoke on some more, will be showing some of her pictures. And also the Nurse of the Year will appear on Snooky Lanson's program the following day on the 17th on WAII. Of course, we'll have spot announcements on all of them, and we hope to have good newspaper coverage. We saw at least 12 of them today if they come through the promises. One window display at Lennox Square, Rich's biggest window.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Ms. Wells, you have anything to add to this good report that we're gonna get the journal for $3?
Well, I think that's just fine, and I think that is.
I do too.
That's a lot of trouble if we could go directly instead of having.
We'll still get 50 cents. At the end of the year, they'll have a reckoning with us and give us, for every one of you that subscribe, they'll send us back 50 cents. And we have sent in 57 parties, sent in 11 last week.
57.
Have another one came in today or either yesterday, one of them was the board.
Reports of special committees, careers, Ms. Jones. And I believe we have a recommendation from her committee regarding the allied medical careers. Do you have that, Ms.
Yes.
Dixon?
This is March the 15th. This is, this one you wrote about the careers of the Greater Atlanta Council. Dear Ms. Garland, the Allied Medical Careers Club of Georgia bylaws and constitution of the Greater Atlanta Council of Allied Medical Careers Clubs are enclosed. The Georgia State Nurses Association Executive Board at their March meeting moved that the Greater Atlanta Council be accepted by the Georgia State Nurses Association and requested the 5th District Committee on Careers to accept the responsibility as a project. That is the Greater Atlanta Council. And that is signed by me as Executive Secretary of the Georgia State Nurses Association.
Do you
Madam
want to tell us
Chairman,
what's back of this? A little bit.
I haven't been able to find out myself. I wrote before the to the secretary of the Allied Medical Careers Club when we got these minutes that GSNA had been asked to be responsible for the Greater Atlanta Council, and I wrote and asked what the Greater Atlanta Council was and what were the functions and the purpose. And I haven't heard from her yet. And Miss Jones, last week we were talking about it, and I asked her if she knew what it was, and she didn't know. So now the question is, and she says that at the last meeting of the Allied Medical Careers Executive Committee or Board, that they had made a recommendation. Do you have the, is this the last one they have?
Mm-hmm.
That they have made a motion that GSNA can't delegate this responsibility to a district. So I don't know what we're going to do about it.
Madam Chairman, could we return this motion to its sender and ask for clarification?
No,
No action?
If they want you to
I
send
think
two
it
people
should,
to the state representatives, and we don't have the money in the budget for that, it'd been $200 or $300 worth. In the meantime, they went ahead and selected two people to go through the state, but they meant for 5th District to pay for it. So it's been around the confusion on
We
that.
don't tell them what to do.
It is not set up in the budget.
Well, Madam Chairman, I move that this material be received as information, that it can be cleared by the Georgia State Nurses Association.
Is there a second?
That doesn't hurt anybody, I'll second. Information.
This is not hurting anybody, it's simply because we don't know, we don't have any information over there to tell you what to do. And I haven't been able to clear it, and Miss Jones is the one who brought it to the Executive Board of GSNA just as they were adjourning, and she didn't know any, she doesn't know anything yet about what this Greater Atlanta Council is supposed to do.
It means refreshments and serving them down at the academy and a great deal of work, and then being responsible for the high school group in one respect. And
I tried to get Miss Mendenthal, who is the chairman, who is the president of this Allied Medical Careers, this morning, and ask her about this, but I wasn't able to locate her. And as soon as I can get some information on it, I'll send it to you. But I can't get it.
You seconded the motion. Ruth Bryce seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Contrary, no. Thank you. That's one way to get rid of that. Now, let's see. We are to vote, I believe, on the recommendation for the next of the year selection and approve it.
would you like,
And I would like to read the names of the 11 people who have been nominated, and if any of them are present, if you would please leave the room. Mrs. Frida Barrett, Miss Martha Davis, Mrs. Elizabeth Dixon, Mrs. Pauline English, Miss Lucy Mace, Miss Lydia McKee, Miss Ruth Reed, Miss Nan Springstead, Miss Helen Thompson, Miss Flora Trice, Mrs. Maddie Lee Wade, Miss Mary Margaret Williams. We don't want you to hear what we're going to say about you.
Listen, I'm expecting that for a minute.
Don't stay long now,
and
please.
the rest of
Let's
them are
get
not to
through.
tell, may I put that little word in, that they ask that when you vote your approval, that the information not be divulged until Thursday the 16th. We did have to tell the newspapers so they could get us some stories.
Now, of these people that have been nominated, the committee's choice is first choice Lucy Mays, second choice Martha Davis, third choice Lydia McKee.
Who's the first choice?
It's Lucy Mays. everybody speak at once, please.
They went through all of the, she had 57 nominations sent in. Miss Reed had quite a number sent in from Grady. Some of them had 27, 28.
What was the greatest amount that was sent on anybody?
Miss Smith.
57 was the greatest amount that anybody got?
Anyone, yes. And in the final vote of the committee, it was 4 against 2. They polled it, they went, Miss Garland can tell you, they spent about 2 hours
I left before
polling.
they did that.
And, any rate, that was,
You see, the first choice was Miss May,
Mhm.
and I'm sure they knew how they were doing. I set the committees.
it was quite a decision. All of them had very good records, and they evaluated all the information sent in. Had, I think, in all around 200 or 300.
I said myself, I don't know what we're doing here, and I don't know what we're doing, but,
Well,
I'm accepting the, committee's recommendation as they counted.
they want approval of this, is that right?
I think once we accept it.
Well, we have a motion that this report be accepted. Is there a second?
Well, they won't talk
No, I
tonight.
just wonder if, there's no second, is it?
Mm-mm.
I wonder why this can't be received as information.
Well, you're gonna have to have your, I mean, they did the choice last year between you, the Careers Committee, and your Program Committee. And I think it was out of respect to this board, since they had asked your opinion on the last meeting and you deferred it. They went ahead and made that selection, and the final plans are already, in the last stages, so to speak, so they.
I guess that's why I wonder if
That's why it
anything
came
more
back.
than information is,
That's why it came back,
Is anything.
then,
I don't think I take the action is.
Has it also been suggested that this person will probably be the 5th District's nominee
that's right.
and
all
the
states.
nurse of the year for the state of Georgia?
That's right.
She got the greatest number of votes.
She did.
It's just,
From the committee, she received 4 out of 6.
but for the.
And from the nomination form sent in, she had almost twice as many as the next number, which was 28.
And then you
Are there others in
Well, it's
numerical?
still not a
Have
popularity
on down through the
contest.
12th. It
It's
was not a popularity.
There's a lot of things that's written on there that what they're judged from, too, from the writing.
I've been told, I sometimes wonder.
Oh,
I hope you
is
take.
anyone in this meeting that's ever been on that committee besides myself? Well, it's work. It takes all day long. So that's why I would say I accept.
It's an honor.
Well, it
It's
really
a lot of
should
work
take longer
considering-
Since they
Right,
referred
right.
it to you, it'd be rather nice if you do go ahead and accept it, and you'll have your manual next year with the criteria, which will not be changed.
I say that if you didn't accept it, it would, well, I would feel awfully bad if I was on the committee that I was questioned. When somebody spent a whole day working that hard, and I'm sure they were very, very fair, and if that person did stand a chance of getting the better time, that she is qualified for 2 honors.
I second the motion, question,
If it's mine, I believe she said.
Which one are you seconding? Miss, we have 2 motions before the floor.
This one was
sorry, I
second.
didn't realize
Uh-huh.
you
Ms. Minette, would you state your motion?
I said that we accept the, committee's, recommendation, whatever their decision was.
Are you offering our approval, is that?
I'll approve.
And what was yours, Ms. Bryan?
Well, mine was, that we received the report of the committee on careers, or whoever, that it clearly, that we received this report, this information.
I second Ms. Bryant.
I don't see why we can't, well,
So, she called the question, I guess we better.
Does that careers committee have the authority, or is the authority vested in this board? Well, who has the final say?
They
Because
sponsored the program, they have the authority to sponsor the program. There's never been any real criteria set up by the board, and by your suggestion last time, there will be.
Nothing to say who has the final word.
No, because the first time they did it, the Careers Committee made the selection entirely. The second time, the chairman of the Careers Committee resigned immediately before the program, and so the program committee and our newly appointed chairman worked in with them, and the decision was made at Piedmont by the two committees. It did not come before the board at all. The next time, this year, when Ms. Jones came back, she wanted your opinion, and that's why she asked you to vote last time. It wasn't really a vote, she just wanted to know what you thought about it, as we understand it now. And then she wanted the opinion of the group. However, we didn't get the minutes until 10 minutes after the meeting was supposed to have started, so we couldn't make you a ballot then. But they feel, and it has been designated unofficially, that they make the final choice, and they're merely referring it back to you as approved.
That's as the rules now stand.
That's
But
right.
I mean, after
After
this
this
year, the
year,
board
you-
will have something to say about it.
After this year, you'll have a manual.
Now, but
We
there-
have no-
there
You have no
is
choice
one.
now except to go ahead and accept theirs.
That's why I make the motion specifically that we receive this as information.
That's what I wanted to know. I didn't want to, all we have to do is just accept it then. Actually, we don't really have the right to approve it.
Approve or disapprove.
Okay, so that's it then.
Motion to accept the report.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Accept the report as information.
All right.
Bryce, Honeycutt. All in favor, please say aye. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. The nominees can be, Sister, would you ask them to return?
I've got something, I want to talk to you about tomorrow. Don't
Man,
ask more than anybody you ever
I'm
saw
telling
try
you,
so
I
hard to
may
stay
be-
clear.
They abscond tonight. Well, that takes care of that, doesn't it? Do you have a report of Ms. Wade's committee?
Haven't had a word with her.
She's out of town. She's
They've had
with us.
meetings, but I haven't
Yeah.
had no report.
Yeah.
And I've ordered her material. A lot of it.
I do know that the Committee on Professional Practice has had 2 or 3 meetings, but Ms. Wade is out of town attending Southern Branch APHA and did not send in a report. They are polling some of the hospitals too for information, and we'll have some information for you at our next meeting, I'm sure. Do we have a report from the Committee on Insurance, Ms. Boggs?
No, but Ms. Mason is in town, and she asked me yesterday in sending out all the material to the hospitals that we also include the notice that you have received tonight. It's particular for the person 59 or thereabout. This is the only opportunity for the major medical, and the response so far has not been as favorable as they had hoped. But she does want the girl to call attention to your friends or anyone else that they do not have to be members of the district after that when they reach the age of 65, that they can go ahead and continue their membership with the major medical. And this offer will not be repeated. So they ask that that be brought to the attention.
Thank you. Is there a report on the study committee on functions of A&A, Ms. Graves? That committee has been meeting too.
She sent Ms. Dixon one, but she didn't send me a copy of her report of the meeting that we had.
Committee on functions of A&A, the study committee, Ms. Graves, the district.
Yes, but, that is over in the state office. She said that, she felt that, they needed more information about, whether they were talking about one organization or whether they're talking about 2 organizations, and that, the committee would do more studying at a later date. And, but she was asking more questions of the American Nurses Association committee.
I
wanna ask, is every section represented on that committee?
Who's on the
You
committee?
got the, on with your blue list there, look on the back
Every
and see.
section should be recommended, I mean, it should be,
Oh, look on the back of the list and say, I gave you one too like it.
out of
on the left
A&A,
there,
every
look.
section was
Top.
supposed to be represented.
Oh, yes, committed to study the functions of A&A, Miss Helen Graves is chairman, Miss Catherine Ramsbottom, Miss Margaret Bodica, and Mrs. Mary Margaret Williams, and Miss Glendora Robinson, and Miss Betty Rogers.
The board set up that committee following that annual meeting.
Well, the reason I asked you was for information. I know that it was suggested that each section, since it was a study of the functions of A&A, and every section has members in A&A, and every section, I would think, on anything that's as important as that, making recommendations that are going to the next A&A convention on the functions of A&A, that every section should be represented, and that was recommended at A&A, that every section be represented on the function study of A&A. Now, they might have been on a state level, but I would presume that this district committee is going to make recommendations to the state committee.
Well, we didn't have any directive about that, and the board set up that committee. However, we ordered every member of the board, which includes your section and your alumni, everything that they had on the study, and all members,
A guide to
all
study.
members will be brought in on it. This is just more or less your steering committee in the district.
Well,
All
I
members.
just asked for information because I didn't know that was
Everybody's responsibility there.
drawn
And
out.
when we get a little more on it, you'll get all that we have and put it in the meeting.
I have an idea Miss Graves would welcome help on this committee.
Well, I
Because
don't want
at
to,
the
that's
other
just one.
meeting, the meetings that I've been to, there's been very few that, I think there were 4 of the committee that met, last week, wasn't there?
Just
She
4 in
and,
the office, and then we
and
went to
Bodica and
workshop
Glendora Robinson,
over
just
the state.
3
Well, it's a
people.
tremendous responsibility,
Yes.
and that's the reason I asked, it was for information.
I'm sure she would welcome more help on the committee.
The sections would be studying it too, and giving, information.
Maybe they will from the state level and come back.
It's a program being planned on it for the state convention.
Well, the fifth district
Okay.
section has a committee on it, within the section.
Do we have some reports of sections? Ms. Pope, administrative.
Nothing other than to report that at our last meeting, the group might be interested to know that we did have a guest speaker at our dinner meeting. By the way, I think this was probably the meeting with the largest attendance I believe we've had since we reorganized. And the group, the section did go on record as following through on the possibility of consideration training male practical nurses under the Manpower Training Act. I've forgotten the number, I have it here somewhere. But this, during the last district meeting, the state chairman commented on this. It's not the one just coming out in the Sterling County, the last,
Not this one.
no, not this
Last
one,
Georgia
last
Newsom.
one. But on the local level, on the district level, this is being pursued.
You have any recommendations?
No, we have our suggestions names for the chairman of the nominating groups, which I think Ms. Atkins has already. She needs additional copies.
You have.
No recommendations.
General duty, Ms. Davis.
We had a meeting at the Academy of Medicine on the 28th of March. There were only 6 members present after all that
David.
Slow going though.
Yeah. Private duty, Ms. Hensley?
Well, private duty is planning, the educational committee of the section is planning a statewide, are planning a workshop. I'll be able to give you the date a little longer, it will be held this year, it will be before the convention, and all district private duty sections of the state will be invited, and it will be pretty much a statewide thing, and the educational committee of the private duty section is also studying and going to make recommendations for the function of A&A. It's the same committee as far as private duty is concerned. And I'm really pleased over the plans for the workshop, and I'll be able to give you some additional information a little later.
Thank you. EACT, Ms. Robinson. Occupational Health, Ms. Clark. Public Health, Ms. Armstrong. Alumni President, Crawford Long, Mrs. Hilton.
No report.
Emory, Ms. Wells.
Having our annual homecoming for June the 6th this year. It will be an all-day meeting and, banquet.
June the 6th. Georgia Baptist, Mrs. Fowler. You have a report.
A report of the last alumni meeting, we had, it seemed to be about 20 or 25 there. And, the main thing that was brought up was the, nominees for the A&A and state district. Ms. Mason, brought us information about the, insurance through the A&A, through the, GSNA.
Thank you. Grady, number 1. Mr. Bromley. Number 2, Ms. Stanley. You have a report.
We are going to have TIFA seniors in August, and we sent our list of nominations out as soon as this ad can have received them already. You did not, right? Sent it to you.
No, I
Yeah, you should have received them in,
Did you send them to 99 Butler Street or here?
No, I believe it's, Malone looked at your home address. But I checked her.
Well, I have a new home address.
Oh, you do? I should suggest another copy because I noticed I was not read and I know we had sent it.
No, I haven't received it.
The only thing we got was the news for the meeting.
Maybe you better send Miss Atkins another copy.
I'll send her another copy. We took up this, insurance, but we were not clear until they, this information was given to us about the, medical, cost. The day in our meeting at the hospital, we were told that it would pay without expense. And that time, during the period of time, it's been explained to us, it was not made clear. So this was clarified today, so we might be able to get a fee.
Thank you, Miss Stanley. Mrs. Bond, Piedmont.
We have business, but for this year, May meeting, we have elected officers, and also when this happened, I asked us to elect officers for the 5th district in the state, but I haven't been able to get anyone that their names could go up on. And I didn't know what to do about that.
On this agenda, under old business, we're to approve section expense. Do you want to,
I'll make
tell
that
us
time
what
brief.
that's about, Miss
Oh,
Atkins?
you know, we've gave $10 extra last year, above the 10 cent per member. Some of the sections have not spent the money, 2 sections I know have not, whereas others have been more active and need a little bit more. I've made out the vouchers and have the checks, and as of May the 1st, we have the membership list to go on, and we want to know what you feel about how. 10 cents will only mail 2 postcards. So, if it's agreeable with you, it's suggested that those that needed the money go ahead and have extra, whatever you'd like for them to have, and those that still have some on hand and haven't spent the last year or the year before, just give them the 10 cents if they need it per
Well, I
member.
know Gratitude would certainly like to have theirs, because we, I know are going to need it for postage.
And how much more other than the 10 cent per person? We gave $10 on the other 2 years. Yeah, per section. Just-
It is now.
Whatever the group would like to do about it. I've made out.
How much do we have extra?
You have 457 members now, as of May 1st.
How much?
And we gave you $10 plus that before.
Last year we had 57,
So, we were wondering if those that have been active and using their money, if you'd like to give them the $10 or give them $15 more, and those that didn't need it, whatever you'd like to do. I have the vouchers, and I wanted to get the checks made based on May 1st of what you
We
would like to
did
do.
buy out of our money last year an attaché case for both secretary and chairman. And the girls are real proud for us to have them.
One section still owes me for about $8 worth of postcards. I think I ought to deduct it from
I
that,
think I would.
from way back. They needed to call a meeting in a hurry and promised to repay them, and the cards run something now, you see.
Well, do I hear a motion to help Ms. Atkins spend her money? Spend your money?
10 cent per person will not give enough notices for the meetings of the EATC section, the public health sections, who have been very active in sending out. They've let me send them, which is good, because
How much more money would they need, these sections who
I
have
think
spent
if you gave
theirs?
them an extra $5, they'd be happy. You gave them $15 plus that. And those that didn't need it, whatever the group would like to do. We've added a little on the budget there to have a little leeway. We're not getting the bylaws printed, so that'll give us a little more.
Who that each of these sections who need money be given $15 each?
Is there a second?
And
That's
what about the
Honeycutt.
sections that don't need it? Do you want to just give them that 10 cent per person till they use up that money?
Yes,
Add that, you wanna add that to your motion?
yes.
You wanna add that to your second? Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. I believe this completes our business. Does anyone else have something they want to bring up? You have anything else, Ms. Atkins?
Thank you.
Elizabeth, you have anything?
No?
Do I hear a motion that we adjourn? Sorry to have kept you too long. Ms. Wells made the motion that we adjourn. Thank you for coming and your good health. You want me to sign these?
You can mail them back to me if you want to. There's so many of them, Miss Garland. I bet you're glad this one's over with.
Two.
This one. I thought we'd send Ms. Woodruff and Ms. Boland Jones and some of those people that nominated those, these little special invitations.
What is that, Mary Wood?
Thanks.
How about y'all signing on my paper?
gracious.
Well, I can go home. Go to bed.
That's the only thing I got, and yes, I mailed you a copy.
I'm bad to roast. I didn't hear.
Got one more.
I know, I don't know that I forgot. I go back to woods.
Before you inherited it, I ate
Where's those recommendations?
What? Oh, I got them here.
Right.
Yes, I need copies too, because, see, I
Did I get one of these?
Yeah.
I thought they were nice too.
She put a lot of thought into it. And he sat and talked us 2 hours. I've never seen anybody so generous with that.
I want a copy of those for the private duty section, because we will probably have to get out a referendum vote after all. We'll have to let the girls know what's going on.
They called me.
And whatever they vote, they had the privilege of voting otherwise for the district and for the state, and they certainly have for their registry. It'll have to be voted on.
I'm just gonna do this one right down here, because there's no place for it.
we do have a nurse, we do have a
Carol, oh, where's that thing? Maxine. Carolyn, give that to the bylaws committee.
All right. Yes, I hope y'all will get that thing straightened out.
Well, we passed it on the local level last
And I
year
just
when we
put
had
it
our
right in
meeting,
there.
when it went to the state.
Well, you're the one that wrote
That was the
minutes, I'm gonna
last.
send it to you, I got a copy of it. You went to
It was
committee?
passed right there.
You, I have a copy of that, Ms. Hensley, and, written in your handwriting.
I have a copy of it too, and my copy says it was deleted and passed in the meeting.
Well, not at the state, Maxine.
But it didn't go to the state.
That's what
It was discussed at length right in Miss Alsop's office,
It
the
wasn't
Georgia
brought up at
Baptist.
your annual meeting, and I'm glad you did it cleared once and for all, but I did.
Oh,
get
I
you a
get
copy.
one of those copies
Well,
back.
I've got a
did it.
copy too.
Uh-huh.
I did take the minutes, but, and I've got a copy, but they did vote to accept that
Well, it didn't
on the
go
local
through.
level, but
Didn't go
it didn't
through.
go on.
But we'll see that it gets through this time. I hope so, once and for all. All I wanna do is to see that it's done right and proper.
Cause I checked it, I was so shocked when the bylaws came back, and we didn't have it, so
I
I,
sent you your copy, the copy that I received, because you spelled bylaws, B-Y-E.
That's the same one, yeah.
Sometimes I'm getting a hurry.
well, and then B-Y-LAWS.
Look, let me tell you.
I'm not a typist,
Let me
so.
tell you the other thing, tonight when I was talking about administrative and all, I thought and understood that you're directly responsible for the register anyhow. And any report you want, that you need for your files and to see that it's well managed, was just a natural thing as administrator.
Well, listen, they
You
have
need
to
a
be,
little more backup.
they have to
You
be
need a little more backup.
confidential as possible at that registry, and they can't reveal the personal files of the girls to
Oh,
all
but
the
I-
registry committee, and without there's really a legitimate complaint.
Well, as chairman of it, I would
Then
think
we're
that any
not
report
supposed
that
to
she
see it.
needed, that that was all you need, you know, I mean, any report, whether you have
Well,
complaints
she
or whether
can
you have.
always get them by asking for them, but until
See, if you don't
we
know
have
what
the
to
third
ask for.
complaint, you don't get them. Sometimes she's told they're being called in for counseling, or the registry committee recommends that she
She's a-
be the one
Well, that's fine.
that
Man.
counts.
I have to have all the members
Four.
present. And I'll make another note here to be
Four.
sure that I've got it on there and.
Well, you
That
see, we
one
set
about
that,
the
and that
One of
way
the
back
reports
to the
needs to be
private use. And
Yes,
then the
It
ones
was just
out
by sheer
back,
accident
so.
that I read it to be sure.
There
that
was,
it doesn't
five, but the fourth one was referred to the private duty section.
include suggested members.
Yes.
All right.
Fifth district and state,
All right,
we've already submitted to the chairman.
all right. Well, all of them will go to fifth district directly.
I do
Thank you,
want a
ma'am.
copy of those letters from the lawyers, so those forms, you know, for the section, because that certainly, it pertains, it certainly section business too, and we try to keep them informed. And, we will want the girls to know the
Yeah, well, I'm glad you get this one done, because I too would like to have it once and for all. There's no reason why it shouldn't. All I want is it just to be done properly.
Well, that's what everybody wants,
See,
you know.
it didn't go that far all, not at all. And you were in the office, cause I went too.
Well, you remember, it was brought out, and it was to be accepted.
Your minutes were the one thing.
This was-
So that's all. See, she's the one
We didn't do anything with those.
Yeah.
If I had known that they
Well,
had
she's
to go
gonna
to the
file
survey,
these.
I would've brought it up.
What?
About that raise.
Well, you've got a motion back here, and all I'm trying to do is to keep it properly so it won't get lost out.
It can go to them for
I just
information, but information only, cause the registry committee has jurisdiction over the registry. The
They-
board told us in no uncertain terms last
Somewhere,
year.
I think I had to take out some minutes today because I couldn't get the others in.
Out of courtesy, maybe
But
they're
you
supposed to
have,
be
you've got a
notified.
motion on here that in the future, any raises in registry dues be brought before and made by Ms. Morgan.
Yeah, I know she made it.
I went through all these because I wanted to be sure that
I know she made it.
I,
I told you Morgan made it.
so I can,
I knew she made it.
Did she
y'all
call
kinda
you
hold,
about, did
oh
she
no, I
call
didn't
you?
even, no, I haven't heard from her. Only thing I've heard from her, she sent an AJN subscription. That's all, took it by my door and called to see if I had it.
But
Now,
we are going to have a
all-
raise to run that registry on
Without they
that.
wanna
If
close
they
it,
don't
they
wanna
wanna
close
close
it
it,
down, or
then
have
make
a
it
commercial registry, or do what they want to,
But
but
they
this thing of me arguing, I just can't
Well,
do it.
the only thing I'm gonna do is try to see that everything is done properly, and if I'm misinformed or I don't do it right, it's because it hasn't been.
Well, y'all, I think that as
listen,
far as
Ms.
it's
Bowman,
information to the section, they're to be notified.
But
But actually,
it's
it's
plainly,
up to the registry committee and the board to
it
plan the
plainly
finances
states
of
in
that.
the
stuff.
bylaws that,
That you set the
that,
fees
that
and
we
the salary.
set the fees
I tell you,
and
the biggest
salary.
mistake was made was when, they started taking the registry committee reports to the private duty section.
Well, they
And
should
that's
be.
just
They should
been
know what's
done.
going- We don't read the minutes.
That's just been done here in the past,
We don't read the
few
minutes.
years.
The minutes are
Because
not read,
it's,
the chairman gives the
Well, I tell you
report.
what,
You want me to
that,
pick all
those
this? Now, that's
bylaws
yours.
say that
But the
that the
board is
registry
expect-
committee has charge of that
Sure
registry
does.
with the
Without having to get
approval of the
approval,
board.
that's
And
what I
I'll
was
just
for.
tell
don't
you,
have to have
and that private duty section, honey, you can't turn them loose to that thing.
Well, you never would get anything.
Go ahead and do it.
Why, it would
You
not
leave
be-
down there, it's your problem.
So I tell you, we can take it to them for information as far as that raise is concerned.
We take them information, but if they say anything,
but
we make it plain.
But we need that money, and we can't argue with them up there about
Oh,
it.
gosh, I'm taking down
If
all
we
y'all